Afternoon, just a short video on router cutters. Different types of router available, small, medium, large. I've got about 4. You can also mount the router into a table. So different cutters, yeah. So you start off with your 1/4 shank or 6mm shank, yeah. That's going to go in to a collet and a nut like that, then go into the machine and be tightened up. All right, now I should be able to see a line there. You can see a line there with an arrow. All right, so you put your cutter in up to the line like that, and you put it in the machine and you tighten it up. Various ways of doing that, all right, various ways of doing that. We're just going to talk about cutters at the moment, okay? For the bigger cutters, you've got a bigger collet, a 1/2 inch collet, and a cutter will fit in there like that again, up to the line, and then tightened up again. All right. So that's a brief overview of how you fit the cutters into the machine. So primarily, I wanted to talk to you about cutters and the different types. So you've got different shapes. This is a 1/2 inch shank cutter. You've got different shanks, and this is guided by a bearing. All right, by far the best, really. You lubricate the bearing, and it runs along nice and smooth. Different shape there. Look, yeah, different shape there, and then a hollow. And these cutters come in all different diameters. All right, got a hollow there. All right. Got a slightly longer straight fluted cutter. It's an old one, or it's not been used for a while. All right, and then there's a shorter one there. Look, in fact, if they get that bad, what you can do is you can brush them up with a copper brush. You can clean the collet out with a wire brush, and you can get a small diamond stone about that big, and you can give them a little rub up as well. All right, just to bring them back to life a little bit. Other bearing guided cutters, a small straight fluted one, a wide one for doing rebates, and you can adjust that by putting a different bearing on there, so that's for doing rebates. All right, and a longer straight flute cutter. You could probably use that if you've produced a template, and then you're going to run round that template to make sure all the subsequent pieces you produce are the same size as the template. All right, and a chamfer bit. All right. So, like I say, a 1/4 collet, generally for the smaller bits and the lighter routers. 1/2 inch collet for the 1/2 inch routers and the bigger bits. You know, the much bigger router bits. So more than comfortable using all of these bigger ones with the big handheld router. All right. If you go beyond that and you start looking at a set like this, which will produce panel doors, yeah, that produces the male and the female of the panel door, and it also scribes the rails. You then need to move into putting it into a router table and securing everything down properly, and using proper pressures as well, so the timber can't jump out at you. Again, that's another, if it wants to come out, that's another row and style bit. All right, produce a different shape, and again it will do both the male and the female. All right, a little bit beyond where you are at the moment, just a bit of an overview so you're aware of it. If you wanted to produce a panel, as in a raised and fielded panel, again you've got a big cutter like that to do a raised and fielded panel, and I've got some samples, and again that goes in the router table, and because of the diameter of it, it pays to buy the router with the electronic speed control, because you can turn the speed right down. You can also turn the speed down when you're using oak, so it stops it burning. All right, take it nice and slow, not too slow, but just at that optimum speed so that it's cutting nicely. All right. In the next video, I'll show you the routers and the parts of the router. But just before that, this is typically the router bit that you'll use if you were doing something like kitchen worktops. Sometimes they have replaceable blades on these, sometimes a bit longer, but it's typical of what you'd use on kitchen worktops. You get different qualities of router cutter as well. You get a trade range or a craft range or a heavy duty trade range. All right, okay, till next time then.